Money in the Bank has come and gone, finally. I didn't watch the kickoff show. I was not in the mood to look for 5.5 or 5.25 hours of content. There's a point where you gotta say enough is enough. I'll look at the main show and that's it. Anyone else who wants to know what the kickoff show was, you can check the Lex Man or anyone else. Me, I'm not doing it. I'm done with that mess. Unless it's something special, I will not do the kickoff anymore. But the show, I know people are going to say, was this better than TakeOver Chicago? And I really don't want to compare them. Honestly, I don't. Chicago was a great show. And I'll say this was a surprising show. I wasn't really hyped for it, to be honest. And it surprised me. I'm going to go with that. That's the best way to say it. This show was surprising. I'm not saying it's a great show. It's not. It was good. And it was surprising. But I'm not going to say it's great. I'm not going to compare it to Chicago. I'm just not in the mood right now. But let's go through the matches. And there's a lot of content here to talk about. The first match, which was the wisest thing to do to get it done quick and to hype up the crowd, was Daniel Bryan versus Kaz. And this was one of the two matches, I believe this is one of the two matches, I didn't give a damn about because of the build. Big Kaz pretty much is a bitch. He has not. Look, did Big Kaz do a decent job in this match? For a big guy, so-so. He's still kind of green. He is. He's kind of green. He should have stayed in NXT a little bit longer. Or at least while he was rehabbing, he should have been in NXT and worked a little bit more in the Performance Center. Do a little bit more work. Hell, work with Aleister Black and Velveteen Dream. Maybe to improve his craft. Hear him talk about he went to Gulag and tried to improve his ring work. Didn't really translate that great. So the match itself, we don't have to care about. Daniel Bryan won, and I didn't expect it to be anything else. I didn't expect it to be anything else because they haven't given me anything else to look at. I'm saying this. Daniel Bryan should have been losing. And The Miz should have been bothering him. That's the way it should be. As it stands now, I'm worried about this feud between The Miz and Daniel Bryan. I do not believe it's going to be as good as many people think because they're not building it that well. Honestly, you have Big Kaz up against Daniel Bryan, and Daniel Bryan has won both times and kicked Big Kaz's ass easily more than once without the match. So I didn't care. And second one I'm getting over with because I don't care about it. It was let me see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. It was the sixth match in the series of Money in the Bank, and it's Roman Reigns versus Jinder Mahal. This is where it gets really bad. It wasn't the fact the crowd was doing a wave. It wasn't the fact they were calling this awful. It wasn't the fact that what was some of the stuff they were doing? It wasn't the fact that there was rest holds. There was about 3 rest holds in this that was lasting more than 2 or 3 minutes. The thing was that, surprisingly, Jinder Mahal was getting a bit over as a face. Look, I know people don't like Jinder. I know at least one of my subscribers can't stand his ass. But I say this, that he's a competent jobber. I'm always going to stick with that. I know he's not great. I know he's not great talking. He's not great in the ring. But he's competent enough to do the job. And honestly, they set this match up to make Roman Reigns someone that has to really fight hard. Even though they're not sponsoring it as that, they're trying to make him still an underdog. Even though they're not saying he is one. And truly, the underdog there was Jinder Mahal. Hell, he started bleeding at one point. The crowd started cheering for Jinder. Then eventually didn't want to cheer at all. But they still cheered for him. This did not make Roman Reigns better. In fact, it brought him down a couple of pegs. Because this is Jinder. Let's be honest. Jinder, US champion and world champion, WWE champion, is here. This is where Roman Reigns is supposed to be. This is where you brought him. And after this match, this is where he is right now. Jinder will be liked more than Roman Reigns, because I know this situation is not over yet, even though Roman Reigns, and if I'm right, Roman Reigns won it, doesn't mean it's over. It's not over. There's going to be something that's going to happen. At least one more time they're going to be dealing with each other, or someone's going to be complaining between each other about this situation. I'll be surprised if they go away from it now. If they do, fine, great, but I don't believe it. But this doesn't help Roman Reigns. It didn't mean a damn thing. End. Now, Seth Rollins versus, well, actually there was 3 matches, but I want to do this one first. 3 matches I didn't care about, but this match was a good one. Seth Rollins versus Elias. And I know a lot of people didn't like the ring work of Elias. Let's be honest. Elias is great on the mic. Elias would be great as a manager. Elias shouldn't be in the ring all the time. He gets over with his work outside the ring. Then you got Seth Rollins, who's much better in the ring than talking his ass off, because he can't talk to save his freaking life most of the time. Not every time, but most. He's not a great talker. You stick these two together, they kind of had some level of chemistry that wasn't great, but at least it was there to a certain extent. And I gotta say this about Elias. He is trying. And I know people are gonna say, dude, he ain't shit. I'm saying this. Elias is weak in one area, and that's his ring work. But you cannot say he doesn't try to improve himself, because in this match, he did try. Hell, he went up on the top ring rope to try and do a splash. No, he didn't do a splash. He did an elbow. Do I believe he did a good elbow? No. But he was trying to improve. Mind you, he needs a lot of improvement. But I will commend him for trying to be better. And now, guess what? Seth Rollins cheats to win. Sounds like Eddie Guerrero, doesn't it? I don't know if they're going down the Eddie Guerrero route of letting him lie, cheat, and steal. Honestly, I don't think so. He just stole the match. And since he's a face, he got away with it. Which is understandable, which I'm alright with. But you wonder how far this is going to go when he's going to cheat a couple of times. What are you going to do? Now, let's get this over with. Bobby Lashley versus Sami Zayn. I didn't really watch all the match because I lost the stream. And I'm kind of glad I did, because I didn't want to see the match in the beginning or the middle or the end. I believe through a highlight, and I think I got that highlight picture, that Bobby Lashley won. But does this mean it's over? I doubt it. And this is hurting them both. Both these guys, look, Bobby was here when he first came in. He was hot. And you got, well, Sami Zayn was here from the feud that he had with, after the feud was over with Shane McMahon. He's like here. This is where they are now. Bobby went from here to here, and then Sami went with him down. They are doing nothing. They're floating. They got no storylines. They got no good booking. And the characters suck right now as it stands. I don't care. Honestly, I don't. Just me. Now, Carmella versus Asuka. Now, I did not expect this match to be really great. I didn't expect Carmella to really do well. But I will say this. I was surprised, like I said, in this title, she at least put in an effort to be better. Now, we know Carmella's not a great wrestler. She's better as a manager or a talker. She can annoy the hell out of you. That's her job. As a wrestler, she's not that great. But I will say, just like with Elias, she did do at least an effort to improve, to do something. She still looks awkward in the ring. She still looks jerky, and she still looks botchy. But at least she tried to go outside her comfort zone in her wrestling. But here was the major surprise. And this was not about Asuka losing. He's in my face. They bring back James Ellsworth, which shocked everyone when he got onto the ring skirt dressed as Asuka in her stuff. I was surprised to see him back after After I heard what happened in UK tour over a year, more than a year and a half to 2 years ago, when almost every place they went, every woman beat the shit out of him. Literally, they were beating him up as part of the story to get rid of him from Carmella. That angered me. Why did they do that to him? But now he's back with Carmella because pretty much Carmella needs him. She does. She was way more relevant with him than without him. So let's take it for what it is. He's back. He's going to make things more interesting. And Carmella probably won't need to talk as much. Let's go with it in that case. And when it comes to Asuka, whose boobie was kind of spilling out of her top after the fight was over, I'm worried. I'm worried. I said this before. You are putting Asuka on SmackDown. Do you actually believe they're going to write properly for her? In this respect, let's be honest, Asuka should have won this. She should have won, and then this Tuesday on SmackDown, you got Carmella messing with her, and then James Ellsworth comes back then, instead of here. That probably would have been more effective, and letting Asuka have the title, than this. I'm not agreeing that she needed to lose, and that's Asuka. I believe she should have won, but still, this is what we got. Let's move on. Let's see here. Let's get this done. Nia Jax versus Ronda Rousey. Ooh, this was... Let's put this in segments. Segment 1 was the first 5 minutes to 8 minutes of the match, where Ronda looked good. Then you go from 8 going into near 10, Ronda did not look good. And then the last part of it is when you have Alexa Bliss cash in. I know I haven't talked about the Money in the Bank briefcase. I will admit, I could have said this earlier, but I want to do this now because of how I felt about the Money in the Bank briefcase for the women. But seeing these 3 segments, you have Ronda Rousey in the beginning looking pretty good. She at least looked good enough that I could believe that she's been training as a pro wrestler. But once she went past the 5-minute mark, that was it. She looked tanked. And yes, she kept working and she kept trying to keep going. But once you see a woman covered in sweat like that, you know she doesn't have the cardio for the ring. You know she doesn't have the stamina for the ring. I know that's both the same, but you get my point. And you know she needs more time to work live shows than the main roster. She should be doing dark matches and only be seen in certain times where she's in tag matches where they can hide this. She is not ready. This proved it. After 5 minutes, she looked terrible. She looked tanked. She looked flushed. This was the first time she went all out, and it shows. Nia's Nia. She looked okay. She didn't do a bad job. But as a heel, flipping to a face, flipping to a heel, flipping to a face, flipping to a heel before this match, and made her look stupid. She looked worse than Big Show. As I said to one of my subscribers, he asked me, is Nia Jax like Big Show? I said no. Because at least with Big Show, whenever he was booked before that madness, he was booked strong. He was booked properly. Nia's never been booked properly. She went from being a heel and never winning in NXT, going into Raw, never really winning anything substantial in Raw, finally being turned to a face, and a weak face at that, winning the title, and then you get her flipping back and forth. Big Show was never treated that way. Whenever he was booked in WCW and WWE/WWF, when he was booked strong, he was booked strong. She's nothing like him. She's worse. And I feel sorry for her. I don't blame her when she wanted to just quit. And she had to take a break. But then once Alexa Bliss cashed in, it looked right. The crowd was into it. It was the wisest thing to do. I'm going to be honest here. I thought Stephanie McMahon was going to come in and mess up the match. That's what I felt. I know I didn't hear anything about it, but I knew there was no way they're going to let Ronda win. And they wasn't going to let her lose either. It's too soon for her to lose, but it's too soon for her to win. That's the reason why they threw out the match. This is what they had to do. They had to protect her because they know she ain't ready. And worse yet, they don't know what they're doing with her. They should be doing dark matches and live shows with her. If she's not doing it, she should be doing it because she needs the training. She needs to get work in. Letting her only work when she's on the show, when it means something is wrong. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Now let's get this done. The women's ladder match. It was good. It was the third best match of the night. Yes, it was. I have to say it. It was the third best match of the night. It was. Naomi looked great. Becky looked good. Well, let's be honest about Lana. Lana looked like a girl. She didn't look like she belonged there. The way they had her just smacking some of those women on the top of her heads while she's climbing the ladder, I don't think I got a shot of it. But if I got some shots with her in it, you're going to see her there. She's smacking most of the women on the head instead of hitting them. The other women are hitting. Why are you smacking? I don't know what she was thinking. If they told her to smack them in her character, I understand it. But she doesn't look credible at all. And that's just sad. Charlotte only interacted with, and if I'm right, because I didn't see her interact much with Ember Moon. She interacted with Sasha. She had to because she knows her so well. She didn't really interact with Ember Moon. She didn't really interact with Naomi. Not at all. She barely interacted with Naomi at all, or nothing. The persons that she did interact with was Natalya, Sasha Banks, Becky Lynch. That was it. The ones who had the most interesting interaction was Sasha Banks with Ember Moon, was with Naomi and Ember Moon, and Ember Moon with Naomi. I gotta say this. I've said this already. I do love Ember Moon. She's not my top favorite, but I love Ember Moon. I want Ember Moon to move to SmackDown to challenge and have matches with Naomi. Both those women just have, if you looked how they looked at one another, how they interacted with one another, they look like they could have a feud that could mean something. You got a Florida girl versus a Texan. They ain't going to react very well. And I want to see that, as the Lex Man says, all day, every day. Let me have that feud of Naomi versus Ember Moon. That I want. In the end, Alexa Bliss is the one. And Charlotte messed with Alexa Bliss as well. But in the end, you basically have Alexa Bliss win, which was the wisest thing to do. But to be honest, the ones I wanted was Naomi, Becky Lynch, who did I say once I said? And Sasha. Seeing that Alexa one was alright, I did not want at all to see Charlotte win because Charlotte does not need this. This will not benefit anyone if Charlotte wins. So I'm glad she didn't win, period. Now, let's go to the men's ladder match. I know I could save this for the end, but I'm not going to. The men's ladder match. That was the second best match of the night. It was very fast paced. The majority of the time they tried to bury Braun Strowman to keep him out of the match. You have, in the end, Kofi Kingston being the one who was going into the ladder match, which I knew it was going to happen. It had to be Kofi. He's been in 7 ladder matches. He's tied Kane now. But the thing for me, and the ones I wanted to win, was either one of the New Day, which I thought had to either be Biggie or Kofi, or The Miz. Because it would make the better sense to have The Miz or Kofi get that briefcase. For Kofi getting it, it would actually be something great for New Day because they could actually use it and really get a lot of mileage out of it. Particularly Kofi Kingston, who has been there for over a decade by now. He's been there since, what, 2006, I think, or 7? I can't remember when he came in, 6 or 7. He's been there at least a decade or more. And I would have liked to see Kofi win that ladder match, win that briefcase, and actually be something with that briefcase. Even if he couldn't win it, I want to see that something be done with him because he deserves it. They got The Miz, who I felt would have been the best case scenario because then it would go back to Daniel Bryan. The Miz getting the briefcase, then getting it over on AJ Styles, that would culminate in a match between The Miz and Daniel Bryan with that belt. That belt would culminate in something that kind of leads back to what happened on Talking Smack, when The Miz was screaming about, hey, this is unfair. Why am I not on this show? How come the IC title is not represented? I should be represented that show. And he chews out Daniel Bryan because of it. Bringing in a title would bring this full circle. Now, maybe they still may do it, but this would have made it very easy. This would have been a no-brainer. Having The Miz win this and then cashing in to get that title away from AJ Styles eventually within this year would have made the most sense. Or next year if you had to do it. Rebuild Daniel Bryan up, and then the beginning of next year you can go into WrestleMania 35. Is it 35? 36, sorry. I think WrestleMania 36 or 35. I can't remember which WrestleMania we're on right now. You can tell me below. But essentially, it would culminate in that. Unless you want to do this at SummerSlam or Survivor Series. Either one. Didn't make a difference. It would have made sense. But in the end, you don't get that. You get Braun Strowman. Now, mind you, there were a lot of violent spots. Hell, Braun Strowman breaking a ladder in half. And I think Finn Balor and Bobby Roode were holding that ladder, and he bulldozed his way through. That was a nice spot. Seeing Kevin Owens get put... I'm hoping Kevin Owens didn't actually get hurt from that fall, because that was way higher than any ladder I've seen him fall from. That was pretty bad. But it makes sense what they're going to do to try and get rid of Braun Strowman. This was about trying to make Braun Strowman unstoppable, and he was. And in the end, not only did Braun Strowman look good, Kofi Kingston looked great. Finn, he looked alright. But to be honest, the ones who had the best shine here was Kofi Kingston, Braun Strowman, and Samoa Joe. Those are the three people who had the best shine out of everybody. And that's the truth. Finally, what you've been waiting for. The match that I was surprised the most about. Because honestly, I'm being honest here. I had no interest in looking at a Last Man Standing match. And even though this was the best match of the night, and I did believe it was a very great match, I still didn't want to see it. I still don't want to even think about this match. Not because I hated it. I really did like it. It should have been an I Quit match or a Singapore... I wanted a Singapore cane match for these two guys, where whoever lost has to stand there and take a freaking beating with a cane, with a kendo stick, and had to take it like a man. And if you bitch out, you look like a bitch. That's what I wanted. The second would have been an I Quit match, which would have made more sense. But if you look in this match wasn't just brutal. It was truly good. It makes up to a very good extent what happened in WrestleMania. Even though it was a good technical match of WrestleMania, I did enjoy it, but this easily outshines it. I'm not saying it's the best match they ever had, and I'm not saying it's a classic, but it did make up for WrestleMania to a certain extent. Seeing that AJ kept getting up, seeing Shinsuke Nakamura kept getting up, seeing that they went through, I don't have shots of them going through the arena, but then when they came back through the arena, and pretty much AJ getting nailed on the tables exploding, seeing that Shinsuke Nakamura got nailed with the tables, which ended the match. That AJ pretty much did a flying forearm into the table and nailing Nakamura where he looked glazed. That was great. Seeing that Nakamura is saying, "Come on!" He's in my face. And AJ nails him in the nuts. Was fine. I enjoyed this match. But I gotta admit, the wrong person won. Because now what about Nakamura? Yes, you can say Nakamura is great. Who cares? No. Nakamura needed to win this to make some sense why they dragged this out for so long. And since Nakamura did not win, it doesn't make any sense storyline-wise for me personally. Anybody else, you're probably happy about it. They can have another match with Nakamura in it. That's what you think. But like I said in TakeOver Chicago, what happened with Johnny Gargano? What happened with Tommaso Ciampa, if I'm pronouncing his name properly? They done this match. Everyone said you need to have a third match to end it. No! You didn't need a third match to end it because you could have ended it here and one of them could have gone to the main roster. They needed to end it. Dragging it to a third one, yes, will be another classic, but it was hot enough that you could end it there. Here it's the same thing. Nakamura losing here means they're going to drag this out a little bit further. Maybe they will do an I Quit match. Maybe they'll do a Hell in a Cell match. I would love it if it was a Singapore Cane match. I know they won't go there. But it should have ended here. So in the end, it was a surprise they did not end it. And I know I can mention a lot of other things, and I'm sure I put a lot of images while I've been talking of what I was able to capture. Because I got over 130 images that I will be putting into this video. You're welcome. That's a lot of work for me. It's almost like an hour's work editing this on my computer. So you're welcome. But in the end, this was a surprising show that was very good. I won't say if it was better than TakeOver Chicago or not. I'm not going there. Who cares? Right now, we got a lot of surprises in this pay-per-view that many people are going to like, many people are not going to like. Take it for what it is. It was a good show with some surprises. Wasn't perfect. But just my point of view. Please tell me below. Have a good day. Have a good night. Peace!